You're watching the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
And welcome back to the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. As if hospitals weren't dealing with enough already, ERs are slammed with everything from accidents to COVID patients. Now more people are getting admitted because of gun violence. I spoke to a local doctor about the growing problem we're seeing here in Houston and around the country.
Dr. Kudrath, when you look at this latest report from the federal government, it's just mind-blowing when it comes to the amount of gun violence that's spilling over into the healthcare system where you guys are. You're on the front lines in emergency rooms, and it says from March 2020 to February 2021, there were 62,500 firearm-related incidents, and that was 15% higher than the previous year when there was no COVID, no pandemic whatsoever. So in the beginning, we saw hospitals kind of quiet at the beginning of pandemic before people started going to the hospital. They were inundated, and now they're still inundated with a lot of gun violence. How tough is that on you guys in the medical industry?
Well, I think it's very difficult on us because you can imagine a busy emergency department with people with other medical illnesses. And as an ER doctor, I can multitask. I can spend a few minutes in this room, that room, order some tests, follow up results, handle a bunch of things at once. But when a gunshot patient comes into the ER, it's all hands on deck. I have to put everything else aside, myself, the nurses, the radiology technicians, all the supporting staff. We're in that room doing everything we can with only seconds to spare to help that person. And not only is it a burden on us, but it breaks our heart. It's very stressful to see these type of injuries because we know that's somebody's family member on our table struggling for their life.
And you know what? I never even thought about that because you guys are people too. And while you're working, you have feelings as well. And you see like this kid who may have been shot, like a 8, 9, 10-year-old or a teenager shot fighting for their life. And that's got to be quite a mental struggle with you guys dealing with that, seeing that all the time.
It is. It's terrible. You know, when we're in the ER, we almost have to become machines because we don't have time to think and we have to do what's best for the patient at that time. But it's true, Isaiah, these are the kind of cases that stick with us and go home with us. And if we can prevent it in any way, we're all for that.
And is it difficult if you lose a patient to gun violence? How difficult is that to go and tell that family out there in that waiting room?
Yeah, it's the hardest part of the job, really. How do you break that news to somebody? There's no easy way to do it. You can just go there and feel as best you can and hurt with them as much as you can, but you'll never feel the pain the same way as that family will. So anytime we have to deal with these difficult situations and these traumatic experiences, it's hard on everybody. We may have a tough working hard on that shift, but that's not nearly as hard as it is on that family member.
And obviously you guys as lifesavers, doctors, medical professionals, you don't get involved in the politics of guns at the hospital, but you do make people aware of how to keep those guns safe and out of the hands of children or someone who may be suicidal or someone who is looking to go out and grab their parents' gun and commit a crime.
That's exactly right. We always want what's best for our patient. And most physicians aren't, anti-gun, so to speak. We're pro-safety. So if somebody stores a gun at their home, of course, we try to give advice whenever we can so they can store it correctly. Of course, there's so many different ways gun violence can occur, whether it's an accident or intentional, and each one of those situations have a different solution. And we're all about solutions that can actually lead to a positive outcome.
Now, you own several minor emergency rooms around the city of Houston and in Angleton and some other parts of our region. Do you guys see gun injuries or shooting injuries there as well? And if you do, can you take them there or do you refer them to somewhere else?
Just by nature of gunshots, usually there is an ambulance on scene, and they tend to go directly to the nearest trauma center. But we've had trauma patients just walk into our ERs. Now, of course, since
You say, where the hell are you going with all that bleeding?
I mean, this is our go time, so we're always ready. In our ERs, we have the same trained physician, the same trained nurse, same equipment. So we do the exact same thing we would do if we were in any ER. Even if we're out in the country ER, we don't have a trauma surgeon to take them to the operating room. We're still going to do the same thing in the emergency department. We've got to get things stable, and then we got to transfer them to a trauma hospital when the time is right. But we've had it happen before, penetrating trauma, and we're always ready for it.
All right, Dr. Abdullah Kudrath, always good to see you here on The Factor Uncensored. And thank you for the job that you do saving lives in the emergency rooms here in our area. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time tonight here on The Factor.
Thank you, Isaiah.